Hello everyone. Today on From Scratch to Finish, we are going to make a version of poke hole cake that I thought up not too long ago. Now I say that I came up with it, but I've never actually looked to see if someone already has a recipe out there or not for it. But I love poke hole cakes, and my daughter, she loves chocolate eclair cake, so I thought, why not try to make a chocolate eclair poke hole cake? And that, friends, is what we're going to make today here on Scratch to Finish. We're actually making it for my parents' birthday celebration tomorrow, so let's hope it all goes well. So first, we're going to start off by making a devil's food cake from scratch. Now for this part, I am using a recipe from foodnetwork.com. And what we are going to need is all-purpose unbleached flour, baking soda, baking powder, salt, unsalted butter at room temperature, sugar, non-alkalized cocoa powder. Now you might ask, what is non-alkalized cocoa powder versus Dutch processed powder? It is unsweetened chocolate with most of the fat removed before being ground to powder. So non-alkalized cocoa powder has more acidity than the Dutch processed cocoa powder. So we want non-alkalized cocoa powder. Pure vanilla extract, 3 large eggs at room temperature, water, and milk. So first, what we are going to do is, in a medium bowl, we are going to whisk together the flour, baking soda, baking powder, and salt, and set it aside. All right, so we need 2 cups of all-purpose unbleached flour, and I am using King Arthur unbleached all-purpose flour, but you can use whatever brand you want. All right, baking soda, we need 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. Three-fourths teaspoons of baking powder. And 3/4 teaspoons of salt. And we are going to whisk this together and then set it aside. All right, now in our standing mixer with the paddle attachment, we are going to beat the butter at medium speed until smooth for about 2 minutes. And we are going to need 12 tablespoons of unsalted butter at room temperature. So we have 12 tablespoons of butter. We are going to beat it for 2 minutes at medium speed. Okay, now we need to increase the speed to medium-high and slowly add in the sugar. Now we need 2 cups plus 2 tablespoons of sugar. So we are going to slowly add this in while we are having the mixer on medium-high, and we're going to keep beating until light and smooth, about 4 minutes. Okay, so now we need to scrape the sides of the bowl. And get it all down in the middle. And next we will add the cocoa powder and vanilla and beat at medium speed for 1 minute more. So we need 3/4 cup of the non-alkalized cocoa powder, I just use Hershey's cocoa, but when I looked it up, you could also use Ghirardelli. And we need to add the vanilla. I use Watkins brand vanilla. And we need 2 teaspoons. Like I said, I bought this on Amazon, this vanilla, because in the store, they only come in like 1 ounce and 2 ounce, and that is just not enough because I go through it way too fast. All right, so we need to beat at medium speed for another minute. And then we'll stop the machine and scrape the sides of the bowl down again. Y'all should smell the chocolate. Definitely need to scrape it off the scraper. And I was looking in my King Arthur magazine that came the other day, and they have this really cool spatula that has like a little indent in the spatula, so it can get, like, it would go in between to cover the paddle and scrape it off better. Might have to invest in one of those. Of course, in the magazine it said it was a game changer. All right, now we are going to add 1 egg at a time and run the mixer at medium-low speed for 1 minute in between each egg. Now we need to again scrape the paddle and the sides of the bowl. Now we have to move over to the oven because the next step is to combine the water and milk in a saucepan and bring just to a boil and then remove from the heat. So we're going to need 1 1/4 cups of water and 1/4 cup of milk. So let's head on over to the oven. Okay, so I already have 1 1/4 cups of water, and I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of milk. And let that heat. We're going to bring it just to a boil and then remove from the heat. Definitely just see the steam coming off. It's almost ready. While we're over here, I'm going to go on and preheat my oven to 350. All right, and it is just starting to boil, so I'm going to go on and cut the stove off and remove it from the heat. And we will head on back to the table to add in our dry mix to our liquid mix. Okay, so now what we need to do is with the mixer at low speed, we're going to add our flour mixture, about 1/4 cup at a time. So this is where I usually get messy, but we're going to do it anyway. All right, now we are going to get our hot liquid and add that to the batter. scrape the spatula. So this can blend together a little bit better. We're going to actually take our spatula and mix it the rest of the way with our hand to make sure everything is nicely mixed and combined. Smells so good. Now normally for this cake food, devil's food cake recipe, you would use two, I think it's 9-inch round cake pans, and then you'd have icing and putting layer icing in the middle and then on the top, and you'd have a nice 2-layer devil's food cake. But like I said before, we are making a poke hole cake, so we are going to put it in a rectangular pan, all 1 layer of cake. But first we need to butter our pan. So let me get a stick of butter. That I am making nice and chocolatey. And we are just going to rub it around our pan. Okay. Stick that there. And pour our batter in the pan. The kid in me really wants to lick it. I never could understand why my mother wanted to scrape as much of it out and get as much in the cake as she could. I always wanted to lick the blender paddles, whisks, but now I know it's better to just go on and have it all in the cake so you can have as much cake as you can. Now for the 2 round cakes, we would put it in the oven for 30 to 35 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Now this is a large rectangular one, so it's probably going to take longer, but I'm going to go on and cut the timer on for 35 minutes and then check it and go from there. All right, while we're waiting for our cake to bake, or maybe you're doing this while you're waiting for your cake to cool, we're going to go on and prepare the French vanilla pudding. That is going to be the second layer of this poke hole cake. So I have 2 cups of milk, and I have a 3.4 ounce packet of French vanilla Jello pudding. And I'm just going to add the Jello pudding into the milk and whisk for 2 minutes. So this is whisked together, and we are just going to set this in the refrigerator to set. It only takes about 5 minutes for it to set, but we need to wait for our cake to finish baking and cool before we can use it anyway, so it'll be ready by the time the cake is ready for it. So I'm just going to set this in the refrigerator. All right, chocolate eclair cake includes graham crackers. So for the poke hole cake, this is going to be sprinkled on the top. So while we're waiting, we can just put these into our blender here, our food processor, or you can just put it in a bag and just hit it with the spoon if you don't have a food processor. Whatever way is easiest for you. They smell so good, makes me want to eat them. Graham crackers and peanut butter, that tastes really good. All right. So the graham crackers are ready. The pudding is in the refrigerator and that will be ready. The other ingredient that we're going to need in the end is Cool Whip. So I just have a small container of Cool Whip, and once the cake gets out and cools, we will put this poke hole cake together and show you what it's all about. All right, so our poke hole cake is done. It is cooled. So now, just like the name says, we need to poke holes. So I just have a spatula that has a round bottom. I'm just going to poke holes with it. This is so that the pudding can get all nice in the cake. Clean that off. And now the next step is to take our pudding, our French vanilla pudding, and we are going to spread it all over the cake, and we want to make sure that it pushes down into the holes. I'm sure you could also do this as a type of truffle and break the cake apart and then layer some pudding on it. As long as that pudding gets smushed down into the cake. And then on top of the pudding, we are going to put some whipped topping. And spread it out nice and evenly. And then the graham cracker that we crumbled up is going to be sprinkled on top. So it's not really even exactly, is it backwards? Because a chocolate eclair cake, you start off with the graham crackers. You layer it. So graham crackers, pudding, Cool Whip, graham crackers, pudding, Cool Whip, and then chocolate icing. So it's not really a backwards chocolate eclair cake. It's just different. Same flavor. You can decide how much of the graham cracker you want to put on there. I don't want it to go to waste, so I'm probably going to put all of it on there. It's quite a bit. So maybe next time I'll only do half of the package of graham cracker. But this is going to need to stay in the refrigerator and stay cold, since it does have a whipped topping. And pudding in it. So I'm just going to put the cover on this and put it in the refrigerator to keep it chilled until tomorrow's birthday celebration. And there, folks, is how you make a chocolate eclair poke hole cake from scratch to finish. I'll send you some pictures or post some pictures below to let you know how it looks cut and how it turned out. See you next time.